Okay, back on my mom's car. This is just me getting some waveforms for you guys. I've got the camshaft position sensor, engine speed sensor or engine crankshaft position sensor, and I've got number 1 triggered on blue. So my other video, I'm going to have 2 videos here. One is the first person view, point of view, and the next video will be, or the video and the link will be a screen capture of this video, which I might as well start recording. Okay, so this is a screen capture of the 1.8 turbo waveform. You'll see a blue signal every now and then, and that'll be the ignition. It may have dropped out. Let me just see. No, it's still there. It's just not showing up. Okay, let me move the cursor a little bit. Okay, so there's number 1 to the left here. Or, sorry, top dead center. Hi guys, just another quick explanation about this video here. You'll be hearing me refer to the missing teeth on the reluctor wheel or on the crankshaft position sensor wheel as tooth, but there are actually 2 teeth that are missing. In the past, I've never really cared too much about where, or wondered too much about where actual top dead center is when looking at the crankshaft sensor waveform. So when going into detail today, or in this video, you'll see me question what's going on here. Towards the end of the video, I'll actually have figured it out in terms of where the actual top dead center is with regards to the crankshaft sensor waveform. I always thought that the missing tooth was top dead center, or in the past I've always referred to the missing tooth, again I keep saying tooth, the missing teeth, as top dead center. That's not the case, and I'll explain further at the end, towards the end of the video. So please excuse my ignorance or my lack of knowledge at following in this video, and then obviously the explanation towards the end. To be honest, it really doesn't matter where top dead center is. If you have a known good waveform and you're comparing it to a bad running engine, all you're doing is looking at 2 different waveforms to spot the difference. That'll tell you that the cam or the crank is out. Well, it doesn't matter which one is out. The signals are going to be offset, staggered, compared to the good signal. So again, it doesn't really matter where top dead center is, but I did explain, or I'm going to explain exactly where it is, or where I think it is at this point in time for this engine 1.8 turbo. So that's it. Sorry about the interruption. And the number 1 current ramp, obviously when the spark fires, that's not the current ramp, that's just a coil trigger. That happens X amount of degrees before or after top dead center. And the green is the camshaft position. So I'm just going to let it run for a bit. Obviously the screen will, or the buffer will fill up and then it'll start over. But I'm just going to let it run, and then I'm going to save the file here, and then you guys can review it via ShopStream software yourself, and then you can compare it to a known good waveform. I'm saying this is known good because there's no trouble codes. So I'm just going to stop it, file, save it. Engine code AWM. Cam Crank. And that's pretty much it. And he wants to know the same thing or elaborate. AWM Cam and Crank. And it's just saving it now. Okay, and we can let it run again. Actually, record to run. So to be honest, I was expecting the coil trigger to happen on the left hand side of the trigger. But then again, if the signal is running from right to left, then that is still the correct way of seeing the camshaft. So this is the advanced side, this is the retarded side. Excuse the politically incorrect phrase. So as the signal is developed, it scrolls to the left, meaning that, yeah, no, that still doesn't make sense, doesn't it? That's strange. I'm gonna have to ask Scanner Danner on that, or let me just swap the polarity here. That might change it to the other side. I've never really thought much about it, so now you can see the on the top dead center mark, the missing tooth sloping down the other way, but the blue cursor is still on the right hand side of the screen, and I'm quite sure that ignition timing at this point would be before top dead center. So that is still quite interesting how it would behave this way. Maybe one of you guys can explain it to me. I'm not very good with scopes. I do use them, and I think I'm somewhat familiar with them, but sometimes I do scratch my head. So anyways, that's a known good 1.8T waveform. Comment in the description what you think is going on. If you, let me just pause here, and we'll zoom out, and you can see the staggered signal of the camshaft. Move this out of the way. Do that. So then you can see a small, two wide, a small, and a small, and then two wides again. So two small, two wides, and then two smalls again. And they're not, yeah, that is the same thing. So one revolution from here to here, and that's the second revolution. And again, with the coil trigger here, with that you can verify that the crank and the cam, that's the number one offset here. But again, depending on which side you're looking at, you just count the teeth, and then you know, compared to the trouble motor, if you have a motor that's not running right, setting cam correlation codes, cam crank correlation codes, you can then go by that and dial things in, or at least determine whether or not a camshaft is out, the chain, the tensioner, or the timing belt. Further explanation here on a bit of stuff. I forgot to mention that, where is it, guided component. The nice part about the snap-on stuff is that it comes with all this information, or at least most of the information they get right for these vehicles. So Passat 1.8 turbo, okay, and then fuel injection components. So we got crank sensor, and we got signature test, and then it shows the harness plug and description of the connector. Connector 1, pin 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 2 are signal, 3 is the shielded ground. And again, depending on which one you pick 1 or 2, you'll get that missing tooth slope going either up or down. For the cam signal here, signature test, same thing. There's a connector. Pin 1 is ECM minus, or sorry, that's a plus. I'm too close, my glasses, I don't have my glasses on. Pin 1 is positive. Pin 2 is signature, voltage reference. 3 is ECM minus. So I was hooked up to the middle one on the cam, and that's when you saw that signal, and it even has a fairly accurate signal here. It's got 2 wide and 2 narrows, but I think they split it off offset here. And then the other one was the coil. Let me just see if they have something. Ignition module, signature test. So this is an ignition coil here, and you've got, where's the doesn't have the, oh, I said that, sorry, I'm blind. Pin 1 is ignition positive, pin 2 is ground, pin 3 is ECM to coil ignition module. So pin 3, let me just make sure that's what I was looking at, and pin 4 is ground. Pin 4 is on the rounded edge, so pin 3 is one off of the rounded edge. So here's the rounded edge, here's the positive, or sorry, the flat edge, and I was on the blue and red signal wire there, so I was on the right pin. So I was on pin 3, and that, which is the ECM to ignition module, or ignition module trigger, whichever you want to call it, for the ignition coil. Okay, so the engine's at idle right now. It could actually be retarded ignition timing or after top dead center. One fault code brake booster vacuum system mechanical function. Have not had a chance to look into that yet. On the automatics and the Passats, there's a little electric vacuum pump that assists in building vacuum for the brake booster. Let's just see what timing is at. Ignition timing before top dead center, yeah, so, but it does vary. You can see it's going down to 2 degrees, but it's mainly staying before top dead center. So again, the question is, why is the coil trigger then on the wrong side? At least to me, it looks like it's on the wrong side of the waveform, of the toothed crankshaft position sensor waveform. Hopefully you guys have an answer that makes sense. Either which way, there's no codes with regards to camshaft crankshaft correlation, so it is still a valid, good waveform in my opinion. But wouldn't mind knowing why it would be on that side of the missing tooth as opposed to the other side. Hey guys, so I did some further thinking here about what was going on here, and it turns out that the missing tooth here is not top dead center. I always attribute it to being top dead center because it was it always was an easy way of understanding a waveform, but in this case it's not so, and that's why this number 1 coil firing event is on the right hand side instead of the left hand side. The missing tooth is used by the ECM, the ECU, the power control module, whichever one you want to call it, to indicate that top dead center is about to come up. And if I take the waveform and, come on, here we go. So this is one revolution here from one missing tooth to the other. There are 60 teeth in total, 2 of them are missing. That's what this gap here is. 360 degrees divided by 60 is 6 degrees. So each one of these spikes is 1 tooth and 6 degrees. So then what we do is we find our number 1 again. Let me go out 2 more times here. So we've got 2 revolutions here from this point to this point. That's 2 rotations of the crankshaft, and we've got the 1 ignition firing here. So what we're doing here now is lining up these guys here. Sorry, I should have probably gone the other way. And we'll just zoom in here. So the missing tooth indicates that top dead center is about to come up. We've got an ignition event that starts right here, and it was averaging at about 6 to 8 degrees before top dead center. And remember I said that each tooth is 6 degrees, so we've got 1 point here and 1 point here, and this is where the first camshaft signal comes in. So I believe that this right here, where the yellow meets with the green camshaft, is actually top dead center. And then the spacing here from this blue to the middle of the blue here, that's 6 degrees. So I do think that the rise of the blue here is just 6 degrees before top dead center. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teeth and then the missing tooth there. So we've got about 60 degrees here of rotation before top dead center. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Top dead center is not where the missing tooth is. It is an indicator that top dead center is about to come up. So if you have a 1.8 turbo with a camshaft crankshaft correlation fault code, and you have a waveform, you can still compare this to my known good waveform. Again, I'm saying this is a known good one because I have no fault codes in terms of camshaft crankshaft correlation. And so all you do is you count your yellow teeth, or whatever color your graphs are. You count the crankshaft teeth and your camshaft teeth, and you want them to line up this way right here. Obviously at idle, if your ignition timing is similar, then you're going to see this blue ignition event in a similar location, but you don't really need it. All you need is to have your crank and your cam signal here. So then you just count from the high rise of them after the missing tooth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. On the 12th tooth is when you want to see your first camshaft event here. And then, so if it's out one tooth over here, over on this side, then you know that either your timing belt is out, something's out by 6 degrees, your chain tensioner, if your chain has got too much slack, if the tensioner is in the wrong place, gummed up, sticking, or whatever, and if it's not sitting on this 12th tooth, then you know that there is an issue that needs to be addressed. Okay, long story short, that's my explanation. Hopefully it makes sense. Hopefully you guys can confirm what I'm saying. If you can elaborate even more, feel free to do so in the description, or make a video to explain further. Thank you for watching. This makes sense to me now. So when you click on this using Google Chrome, it'll start to download, or it won't start to download until, because you see this screen here, Chrome is flagging it. So then what you click on details, and then you scroll down, and even after you click this button saying that it's okay to download, it will start to download, but then it won't let you open it because it still thinks that the link / the software is infected. So the way I got around it on my Windows 10 is I used Microsoft's Edge browser, and I put the URL in there, and we go to the download page, and then when I click download, it will actually download it. So here it says ShopStream, yes, so we save it, and I'll probably recognize it as being downloaded before, so you can see the number 1 here. And then after it's downloaded, you can then execute it and install it. So for some reason, Google Chrome does not like it. So don't use Google Chrome if that's what you have. Install ShopStream through Windows Explorer browser, or whatever it was called, Internet Explorer, or their new Explorer, which is Windows Edge. It's funny because Snap-on's Veris Edge and all the other Edge products. So anyways, hopefully this will help you, and then once it's installed, all you got to do is drag. Actually, I should show you guys that. Once you have installed it, you click the download link for my file. Sorry, I'm going on the wrong place here. You download my waveform capture, then you go to your ShopStream folders, and you can see all the different folders here. It doesn't matter which folder you put the file in, so you just choose Vantage Pro, and then you can see here's the file that I downloaded, or my waveform capture. Then what you do, you can close all of those, and you open up ShopStream. ShopStream is on my desktop. It's just giving you a general warning about opening it, which I hate about Microsoft. So here it is, and then depending on how long ago it was, if this is the first time you used it, then all these folders here, these are going to be in the closed position like this. So what you then do is you click on Windows, ShopStream, you open that one up, and then you go to Vantage Pro, and then here's the file. You double click the file, and then you'll see that it opens up normally. And from here you can obviously manipulate it as you wish. You move the various waveforms around. You can zoom in and out depending on whether or not it's a movie. If it's a stationary file or a screen capture, you cannot zoom as indicated by one of my other videos. So that's it, and you can obviously move it frame by frame here. Feel free to play around with it. Hope you like the waveforms that I captured. As mentioned before, I don't do enough waveform capturing, so I don't really get good at using the scope, etc. All we see usually is just regular maintenance at the shop, no real diagnosing like Scanner Danner or Eric O at South Main Auto. So I hope you guys are okay with the videos that I put out, as well as the waveform stuff. At least it's something that you can use to compare. And like I said, all you need to do is count the teeth from the crank to the first cam signal, wherever it's easiest for you, and then compare that with a bad running engine to see if anything changed. Okay, thanks for watching.